Good evening. Would like to call the April 10th, 2018 Board of Education meeting to order. If everyone would please stand for the invocation given by Ms. Milligan, followed by a presentation of colors and the Pledge of Allegiance by South Brunswick High School JROTC.
Would you bow with me, please? Most gracious Father in heaven, we come before you this evening to give you thanks for all the blessings you've bestowed upon us. We ask that you continue to bless us as we make decisions that will affect the future of our county through our children and our leadership in the Brunswick County schools. And we ask, Lord, that you be with all those in need tonight, whomever they may be and wherever they may be. In Jesus' name, amen.
Color guard up, hand jump. Carry color. Forward, march. Left turn, march. Color guard, halt. Present, arc. Please join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Post. Order, arc. Mark time, march. Right turn, march. Forward, march.
Okay, next on our agenda is the public address. And before I call the first speaker up, I'm going to ask our attorney to go over the policy reference public address.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Good evening, everyone. My name is Rick Green. I am the attorney for Brunswick County Schools. I need to read policy number 2310 as it applies to speakers who will address the board. Discussions regarding particular individual employees, litigation, student records, or other matters which may be required to be kept confidential may not be discussed in open forum setting. The chairman will have the responsibility to determine matters of discussion that may be inappropriate and rule the speaker out of order if necessary. Presentations will be limited to 5 minutes per person. I will keep the time and advise the speaker at least a minute before the time is run out. So Ms. Mathison.
Welcome.
So I'm just here tonight to speak to you from my heart as a mother and a recreational therapist who has worked with children and adolescents in acute locked facilities for psych care. I know there's a big push for bullying prevention. However, I also know that the kids that act out the most are usually the most difficult to love, but they're usually the kids that need the most love. And we all know that it's hard to get mental health help in this area. I know of quite a few local people that have had to go to Raleigh to get the acute care they've needed. It is in great demand here. I'm just asking that in the push for bullying prevention, please do not ostracize these kids any more than they already are. We need to get them the help they need. We do not have as many mental health professionals in our public school system in this county, even as New Hanover. While we can all agree that bullying is detrimental for everyone involved, It's usually the bully that needs more love than the victim, longer term. It is detrimental to both the victim and the bully. There are ways to think outside of the box to get everyone help. We can be a leader in the nation in preventing this. There's different programs such as Pause for People, where if just one person in each school wanted to do the training, you could get a mental health or behavioral or medical dog in each school, free of charge. They do ask for a donation, but it would have to be a dog that would go home with one staff member. That's just one way of thinking outside of the box. Yes, finances are tough and we can't always afford what we want, but it is up to us to make sure that our kids have what they need. And I just wanted to bring that to the forefront. Quick and simple. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Next is Ms. Shannon Gordon. Good evening.
Hey y'all, I really wanted to say something to grab your attention at the beginning, but for the life of me, I couldn't come up with anything. But that God sent me. I'm here on assignment, so I have something to say tonight, okay? Unfortunately, we live in an age where everyone wants to tear people down, and I'm not here to do that. But I am here to talk about that. Our children are tearing each other down daily. And I want to address a situation that's present in our school systems, bullying. Before I get started, I want to say, in the 5 minutes I'm allowed, that I'm not here to address or show off the parts of the school system that are working, because I do feel that we have many, many parts that are working. Please hear me, okay? But I am here to point out the heart of a system that has become dysfunctional. Sometimes it's easy to fix situations when it's a small situation, like a child being called a name. It can be fixed on that level of situation. For example, if the child's being called names, the teacher can address it, punish the child. It's taken care of, right? It's handled. But I think the levels of the situations now have reached an extreme, and the extreme bullying, children killing themselves, children killing our children, has reached a different level. We're on a different level. And I don't think we can continue addressing situations the way we have or the way we are. We need to address, or to start addressing, systems. And I am so tired of hearing parents tell me that their problems are being handled like we're playing whack-a-mole. By the time one situation is under control, here comes the next. We have to address the system. And this isn't a game. This is our children's lives. Their emotional and physical well-being, when I leave, is in your hands. Addressing the system means we need to fix the dysfunction that is breaking the system, that is creating the situations. I'm going to make sure you caught that, so I'm going to say it one more time. Addressing the system means we need to fix the dysfunction that is breaking the system, that is creating the situations. I don't know how to do that. And I'm sure if you did, if any of you did, I wouldn't be standing here today. Symptoms like bullying and school shootings are a reflection of a dysfunctional system. Sure, on the surface, almost no one I know, and I know a lot of people, in Brunswick County really believes that one of our schools will become a statistic. But I feel that we need to build and repair beneath the surface of our system before we are faced with a storm. We cannot become complacent. On the surface, we don't appear to be. Our community prides itself on how great our school system is. And I'm not here to address or disagree with that. But what's under? What's beneath the surface? What do we have in place in Brunswick County that has been built on such a foundation that storms are terrified to even try to destroy us? Because storms are guaranteed, my friends. Storms are guaranteed no matter where we live or what district we're in, they are coming for us. I want to know what we are building beneath the surface before we face any storm. And I love that you guys opened in prayer, so I've calmed down a little bit. To me, it represents faith. But the opposite of faith, I feel, is certainty. And too many people I know are certain that nothing is going to shake the school system. Too many people are certain that bullying is not as bad as it seems.
Ms. Gordon, you have 1 minute remaining.
Thank you. I'm here to tell you all that it is. I'm here to remind you that bullying is happening. It has reached the point that it cannot be handled on the levels of the situation any longer. We have to ask you to address the system as a whole. Pay attention, because parents are. I could share with you incidences, or you can open the local paper and read them for yourself to show you again the heart of the dysfunction that is breaking the system and creating bullying situations. But I'd like to think that you're already aware. I'd like to believe that you know of these incidences. I'd like to feel that these stories, you take them seriously, and that when parents, or more importantly, children and or their teachers demand change, that you will take action. So let me end where you began in prayer, please. If my time runs over, forgive me, it's short. My prayer tonight is that you know that you have an ally in me. My prayer tonight is that you know that I will armor up to fight alongside of you for whatever will come our way. My prayer tonight is that you know that I will help you build beneath the surface so we can't be shaken. I pray for change. I pray that what I said did not fall on deaf ears or stubborn hearts, because I can guarantee you there are a lot of those in this county. My prayer tonight is for all of our community, our schools, their staff, and all our children to be protected, to feel safe and secure when in your hands. In Jesus' name, precious name I pray, amen. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. And I'll just say one comment. I can guarantee you that there's not deaf ears up here. We take it very serious every day. So. Okay, next on the agenda is the presentations. Ms. Phillips.
Everyone.
Good evening.
My heart is pounding from your speech, Ms. Gordon. As a mother, we are a community here in Brunswick County. I feel connected to all of these people. We feel connected to you and your children. I can assure you the culture is changing. It's baby steps, from the students to the teachers to the county office to our board. We're all working together, are we not?
Amen.
So I hope you all had a great spring break. I know we did. I wanted to kind of update you on a couple of things from last addresses that we've had. The last time I spoke to you, we discussed our school safety and where kind of Brunswick County stood and how teachers were feeling about that. So as of today, I can tell you that I'm keeping tabs on our school safety committee, and I'm making sure that I'm a liaison for teachers and for those lawmakers and policymakers. There have been two groups now with our school safety committee that have they've broken them into two groups, and one group of legislatures are working on the long-term goals. This is getting more school psychologists and school counselors, and then there's a group working on short-term goals that may be based around SROs in our North Carolina schools and things that are more facilities related. I can tell you that next Tuesday I'm going to accompany Mr. Eiler to Raleigh to the meeting that he is assigned for the short-term goal and what they can do for immediate action. So I feel confident that things are starting. I'm curious, is there anything that you would like me to take with me to Raleigh? Any question, any thought that will be helpful for me to bring back the right information for Brunswick County?
I talk with Frank regular, so he pretty much
But
knows
from
where
a
we
teacher
stand.
perspective, I guess is where I'm thinking.
Well, I mean, we're very fortunate in Brunswick County to have the funding and the relationship we have with our county. But as our finance officer will tell you, they're looking at cutting our SRO funding by $120,000, Freya, is that correct?
The state?
Yes. So I've been in communication with Representative Eiler and also Senator Rabin regular about that. That don't mean we're losing SROs in Brunswick County, because I can assure you, as long as John Ingram's sheriff, there's going to be an SRO in all of our schools. We just feel very strongly about that. But yeah, that's one message you can take. I mean, the funding for our SROs that helps supplement that cost.
Sometimes
It's
they
definitely a big
may
thing.
listen more to someone in my position than,
Good luck.
right. That's the goal. I'm working very hard to hopefully make that happen.
But the mental health issues, I
Yes.
mean, me and Frank's talked about that extensively. You know, I listened to their webinar they had, their first meeting. I watched it on the computer, so.
The 6 hour.
Yeah, I was hit and miss on it, but they're hitting on a lot of the highlights that we know is needed, so.
Okay. I wanted to ask about, I know that there was talk about having rubber door stoppers in each classroom and where we are with that piece, Mr. Okay. And can you just kind of tell us what that does, specifically the rubber door stopper?
I would
what
prefer
it-
we not talk about
Oh, okay,
some of those details.
okay.
That's just my opinion. That's something not that we don't care to share, but
It'll be discussed with us.
yes, the
privately.
safety committee,
Okay.
yeah.
That's fine. So moving on to a couple of questions that TAC members have brought to me to address to Central Service and our board. The first question is there's a new formula that is, I would like you to speak, I guess, on the formula for how many teachers are per or what's the percent, I'm sorry, what's the number of students per teacher in building and what school, middle school, high school, elementary school? I'm just getting questions that middle schools next year are getting more teachers, but high schools are getting less, and just the rationale behind that.
So I didn't come today prepared to answer that question, so off the top of my head, we reduced class size in elementary schools. We relooked at middle and high to what the class sizes look like in comparison to how we were funded at the state, and saw where at the middle schools we were underfunding positions at the middle schools and overfunding at the high schools per the state formulas. And so we adjusted those slightly. Middle school funding formula went up and the high school formula went down slightly.
That. Also, I just wanted to address, because it was sent to me, and I did tell teachers that I would ask this and just kind of give some information. With the help of Mr. Tubb, which I don't know if you know about this yet, but you will, and Mr.
You get ready to find out.
But Mr. Cheers and Mr. Oates and myself will get together and help answer some questions that haven't been as clear concerning our CTE initiative with BCA and where that's going. Lots of little small questions that I don't have the answers to, and I think
We'll be happy
producing a FAQ sheet.
We'll be happy to.
Yes, yes. So I just wanted that to be out there for you. The calendar, TAC is on board with the new calendar policy. I know you guys are voting on that, or the new calendar proposal, voting on that tonight. There have been little questions, I think, but as with any change, there are going to be those questions. So Dr. Oates will address those questions from there. And that's all I have. I will say this, I had something completely different planned for today, and we've pushed it back to May based on some unforeseen circumstances. So this wasn't as put together as I would have liked it to have been for you guys. But again, it's good to see you, and I'm glad to see you're back. Thank you.
Talking about school safety, getting
Yes.
back to that. I've seen school systems where all middle school and high school students have to wear a badge
Right.
around the neck. I know that brings problems because they forget them and you got all that going on. However, the whole idea behind that is if you see someone without one, you assume they're not a student. And the second thing is, I see places that when you enter the school, you have to go through metal detectors automatically at the beginning of the day, particularly with everybody coming in. I would like to know what teachers think about that.
Okay.
Horry County is really locked down when it comes to all that.
Right. Okay.
Because to get in a high school, you also go through a gate with a security person even get on the campus. And they radio up to the office and say, this John Doe is coming up to the office, look for him in 30 seconds.
Right.
So there are other things we can do, but I don't want to waste people's time. That is just a effort that is meaningless.
Right.
Just because somebody else does it, you know.
Right.
But
I will take that back to TAC and report back to you on that. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thanks. Okay, next on the agenda is approval of the meeting agenda. Do I have a
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
motion by Ms. Cook, second
A second.
by Ms. Milligan? All in agreement? Aye. Aye. Okay, do we have approval of minutes from March 6th, regular meeting, March 20th curriculum, and March 20th budget?
I move that all three of those be approved.
Motion by Mr. Lemon, second by Ms. Cook. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Consent items?
I move that we approve consent items.
Motion by Mr. Lemon, have a second.
I second.
Second by Ms. Milligan. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All right, action items. First is the 2018-19 school calendars. Dr. Oates?
Yes, sir. We're looking to seek approval for the calendars as they were presented in the committee meeting. Just to give some additional information regarding the process for the calendar. This calendar will give us additional time in the school day by adding 10 minutes to the beginning and 10 minutes to the close of the day, resulting in 1,089 instructional hours for the year. Currently, we're operating under 1,080 instructional hours, giving us 360 minutes per day. The new calendar would give us 380 instructional minutes, thus the 1,089 for the year. It would also allow for the first semester in the high schools to end before the Christmas break. Students would then return to school and in January in a new semester. The exams and all of those types of things would be taken prior to break. So you wouldn't have to go home and spend Christmas break studying or under that type of stress. And also you'll note in the calendar the number of work days that have been added that we can definitely use for professional development. Many more than what we currently have. We had some good feedback on the calendar proposal. The committee, as Ms. Phillips did say, the TAC endorsed the proposal that I presented to them. All principals fully endorsed it. The school improvement teams at each school, we have 95% of the school improvement teams of the system endorsed it. We sent out a poll on Facebook and on our district website, and it was open to every stakeholder. And we had 1,125 responses from school staff members. 83% of those endorsed it. From parents, we had 1,282 responses. 83% of our parents endorsed the proposal. And from our students, we had 958 responses, which was 86% of their endorsement. So with this feedback and the effect that we think that it will have on our students and not just community as a whole.
Dr. Oates, I think the calendar is refreshing. And one thing I like about it is the fact that it gives teachers many more opportunities for staff development without being pulled out of the classroom. On the other side of the coin, although we're not losing any time, we're losing days of instruction from 180 to 172. Field trips, I think, have to be looked at very carefully and scrutinized, and we have to make sure that there are no field trips that are not educationally valuable.
I agree.
And I think we have some going on currently that may be questionable. So
Understandable.
the central office will be looking at that along with this calendar being different.
Most certainly.
But with that being said, I move that we approve this calendar.
I have a motion by Mr. Lemon. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Cook. Any discussion? Mr. Thompson, any discussion?
No.
All in
hopeful.
favor?
The only question I had, and it's probably well beyond what the board would want to do right now, but at some point, we're swimming against the tide with the earlier starts for high school students. At some point, I'd like the board to reconsider the start times for elementary and high school.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. All right. Next, budget amendments.
Yes, there are 3 budget amendments to follow up from the March 20th committee meetings, where the board discussed moving forward with technology infrastructure and security upgrades in preparation for the one-to-one district deployment initiative. And so the first item is local number 3. This is to appropriate $900,000 from local fund balance towards this technology initiative. And they all kind of come together, so I'll say the next one together. Capital number 6. This one is to appropriate the $2.8 million that the board discussed in March to increase the site work, increase the capacity, and to do the site work for the Town Creek Middle and Elementary School. And then the third item, or the second item there, sorry, is to provide an advance on the bond proceeds for the Town Creek Middle and Elementary. These are all items that we've kind of, that have been discussed, but this is putting the money in place, and to request the county put this money, make this money available. And the third item is the $1 million of technology upgrade. So this $1 million was already in the bond. We're asking for it early so that work can begin during the summer months, in addition to the $900,000 that's coming out of fund balance. $1.9 million for the technology infrastructure, $2.8 for the site improvement and the increased capacity of the new schools, as well as an advance on the bond funds to begin site work. And then capital number 7 is to transfer that $900,000 from local into capital where it'll be spent.
Ms. Cahill, just for the record, with our bond work, so we don't have any misinformation out there, we are on track, on schedule, actually probably ahead of schedule with some of the bond work, correct? We're right on
track,
schedule.
and we're moving the site work up.
Yeah.
Because there's so much there's so much dirt that's got to come out, and then dirt that's got to go in on the middle school site, and we don't want to do that while school is going on.
I agree. Okay. Do I have a motion to accept?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Cook. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Thompson.
Oh,
Any discussion?
We talk about 7 or all 3?
All 3.
Okay.
You good?
All 3.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. Okay, next is discussion announcements by superintendent.
Yes, sir. If you look at number 1, the April committee meetings, we've moved that back 1 week to April 24th instead of having it on the 17th, which would be just next week. That'll give us a couple of weeks to, after having our spring vacation, as some of us worked anyway. to bring some information to you that we will need you to act on. So that's been moved to April 24th instead of April 17th. Additionally, then that puts the May 1st meeting very shortly after that for the regular board meeting. There's a third item that is not listed on this that I would like to address very quickly and hopefully succinctly. I met with, or I attended the joint meeting between the Oak Island Town Council and the Castle Beach Town Council reference the bridge closing. The Department of Transportation, and I talked with these gentlemen after the meeting, had not even looked at the impact that it would have on our school system. We presently run 7 buses on a staggered schedule over on the island. Looks like what we will have to do is move it to 14 because we will not have time to do the staggered schedule. So that means that moving it to 14 buses, not only will it create more of a traffic jam with the 12,000 cars and trucks that travel over the present bridge having to move down to the new bridge, we will create some issues with our buses traveling down the main road and picking up students. And I talked with the council about that also. More importantly, too, is the safety issue with that number of students that we pick up, and there's over 500 students there on the island, of which we pick up 300 plus right now, may pick up more than that next year. And talking with Mr. Taylor very quickly and doing some quick mathematics, it looks like that we will drive probably, our buses will travel an additional 50,000 miles next year on the island, because it's when you come off of Middleton, it's 6 miles over to, and then it's 6 miles back to get to Long Beach Road. And then it's the regular route into the elementary and the middle and the high school. That's going to create some issues with our efficiency rating, which creates issues with our reimbursement from the state. Additionally, it looks like adding the cost of running the buses for those 50,000 miles, it's going to end up being in over $100,000 additional for our bus costs for next year. Mr. Taylor and his staff are working very hard and will be looking at the TIMS data where our students live to tailor the bus routes to the best of our ability to pick up all the students safety-wise and to save as much time and to not impact the traffic that will take place, the large number of traffic vehicles on the island. I also talked with DOT about the cost factor, and they said they hadn't even thought about that and that they would go back and look at it. So I don't know if there's going to be any remedy or not, but we'll talk. Yes, sir.
I was just wondering, maybe this is a conversation that we can have with DPI about a waiver. It seems to me that the $100,000 that you're talking about is going to come out of local expense to begin
Yes,
with. So it should be no harm, no foul for a road closure.
Yes, sir.
Why don't we have that conversation with them and ask for a waiver with the formula so that it doesn't penalize us? It's not just this year, it would be the following year that we get hit.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
So
sir.
we get hit twice because of the road closing.
That's correct. I'll go with them. Also, we'll be talking with Senator Rabin and with Mr. Eiler. And the DOT asked me, the representative there asked me to talk to those gentlemen, as they would also be talking with their superiors about what it's doing to the cost factor, to the time factor, and all of those other things that will happen. I promised the Caswell board and the Oak Island board that probably at their August meeting that Mr. Taylor and I would present what the traffic plan for our buses would be to them, so that we would, so they could have an expectation of how the buses will impact the traffic flow over there. I can see that Oak Island Police are going to have to help us, and not just us, but help the overload of traffic itself going in and out of that island, just using one bridge. So,
Well, heaven forbid there's any delay, I'm sure they'd be liquidating damages for the contractor.
they have it, incentives for an early finishing, completion.
And a stiff penalty
And
for
a stiff
late.
penalty for a delay.
I wanted to put our name on part of that because every day that goes over apparently costs us a substantial amount of money. So I know it's not likely.
It's over 560 additional miles per day at $2 and whatever per mile. So
Well, and that's coming straight out of the classroom, so.
Yes, sir.
Just want somebody to consider that in the event that there is a delay. I mean, you're talking about bridge work, I can remember.
Lord help if we have some weather issues at
Right.
that time of the year.
Well, I think they've cut it from 8 months to 6 months. The
Well, that could
project
be
had
good
been.
or bad if you don't give them adequate
Oh,
time to start
absolutely,
with.
absolutely.
So,
The closure has been down to 6, but they're going to continue the work. They're going to do some work that they can do which won't impact the closing of the bridge. But both towns are cognizant of the issue, and we will stay in contact with them. And we will bring you the plan also.
Well, at least this time we have another bridge to get to Oak Island. I remember when the first one was knocked out.
Yes, sir.
Had a barge. So, anything else?
That's all I have. Thank you.
All right. Do I have a motion to go to closed session as stated on the agenda? Oh, one thing. Dr. Oates, you wanted to recognize somebody.
I'd like to take this opportunity to just formally introduce to everyone our new Executive Director for Elementary Education, Ms. Antanya Johnson. She's joining the Brunswick County Schools family. She's no stranger to the area. She was, at one point in time, the assistant principal at the former Lincoln Primary School, and she left us and went to Wayne County and served in Title I, and went there to Wake County and to DPI, and was working at DPI, working with the New Schools Project and professional development for the state. Now she's found her way back home, and we're glad to have her with us.
You're welcome. Glad to have you. All right. Do we have a motion for closed session?
We move to a closed session.
Second.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Take 5 minutes.